Amazing.
Hello.
Look at all these islands.
Welcome back to another stream of Little Learning Machines. We're so happy to have you here. And we're super excited to run through a bunch of fun things today. So, yeah. Hi.
Hey, I don't know how fun they'll be, but they'll be interesting.
Everything's fun.
If you like learning about machine learning observations and the observations of these skilled little guys, Dante's gonna run us through some bugs that we've had,
Yeah.
some interesting reasons.
So, the reasons. Okay. So, how did these guys learn? Okay. So, you guys have probably seen some of our stuff already about like the little learning machines, but the way that they learn is they kind of see the environment around them. But we are being a little like a little sneaky here because they don't really like see the way you and I see. They kind of see in this like shape around them. It's kind of like they're looking at things from like a top-down view and they see things like pixels. Like for example, here they see all these pixels. It's like, oh well, all around me there's like blocks. And if for example you were to put like some crystals down, it would be like here, let's put some over here. And let's click our little guy again. It would be like, oh, there's some crystals here. So it sees like a pixel for like where everything is. Like it sees like, oh, no crystal, yes crystal, no crystal, no crystal, no crystal, no crystal, yes crystal. Kind of like that. Now though the other thing is like it aside from seeing whether or not there's crystals, it also sees like, hey, how high is the block at this point? So here it would be like, oh, there's a block there. Oh, there's a block there. So it might use that information to kind of like navigate around the blocks. And you would assume that if there's like a chasm next to it, it would know that there's a chasm next to it. It it doesn't. Um, so that's what we're gonna look at today. Due to a small bug in the code, the little robot, the code that we wrote, because like we don't program these robots to do things. We just kind of program their environment and like kind of the way that they see things. So the way that their behaviors that they walk around is entirely neural networks. So we don't actually code any of that, but we do code kind of like the little like vision that they have to see around them. So unfortunately, the way we kind of coded this, it's unable to distinguish between this little block and this little block, which actually makes it very hard for it to navigate space. So I'm going to try to train it on this, and then I'm going to show you that. It, first of all, you might be like, well, if it can't see deep water, then how come, like, maybe it can't learn? So let's just set up a really simple example, like, hey, you love collecting crystals. And this is my favorite like reward. It's like you fear standing still. So just so that it doesn't kind of like stay in the same spot, like you gotta move around, buddy. And then we also tell it that it absolutely dislikes falling into deep water. Like once it does,
you want that crystal to be a +1, Dante?
okay,
Hey.
there's a little bit more love. See, last week we were like arguing because it's like, hey, like too much. We need more love and less fear. And I was like, more fear so that they learn better. And now I feel really bad. You'll see why in a second.
There's enough fear.
And I was like, okay, when you get all the crystals, it's kind of done. So we're gonna train with this for a second. Now, obviously, it gets like its little shocks. Just stay still. But like you can see that for the first little bit. Wait, what? Oh, that's a shadow. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what? How did it walk across? Like, there's more bugs than I thought. Okay, cool. Yeah. So for the first little bit, it's just kind of like walk around, and then maybe it'll fall into the water and be like, nah. Yeah, it's not really like learning where to go. I feel like there's not enough danger here, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more danger. Boop, 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 boop. You get to do this in the first level too.
Yeah, this is basically this is kind of just the second part of the tutorial that's in the demo currently. Which is potentially why some people were getting stuck at the end of the tutorial, which is really lovely. Because we were trying to figure out why.
Yes. So you can see it's kind of moving around, and it's like sometimes it falls into the thing. It's like let's slow it down maybe. Yeah. So it's kind of like learning to come over here and it's like kind of like chilling. Slowly to learn to like not stay still for too long. What's up?
Yeah. So it's so the key thing is it is getting the rewards, as you can see with the green. Like it's getting the rewards, and so basically at the beginning it was dying every round almost. But so it, as much as Dante just said, it can't see the deep water. It is somehow learning to not go in the deep water, which is
every time it gets less and less into the deep water, which is good. Like interesting. Like I just told you in the code, there's a line of code that says check for deep water, and it's just broken. Like it just like I futzed it. I was listening to a podcast at the same time. I was just like, I don't need to have to figure out this line of code. But how is it learning? Well, what's interesting here is that this agent is not learning to not step into deep water. What this little guy is doing is that what this little guy is doing is it's learning the different shapes of the environment around it. So it's like, oh, when I'm this far away from these tall blocks, I shouldn't walk forward. So it's using the things, or when I'm close to where these crystals are, I should walk left and I should walk right. Like it's using the things that it can see to memorize a set of rules to be like, oh, yeah, what's up?
To create almost a mental map of relationships to some extent, an internal mental map within it, or is that not right?
No, that's exactly it. It's like out of the things it can see, it's like, oh well, when the crystals are kind of in this shape, I should kind of move around in this direction. So you kind of see it walking around in some ways. And there's this one crystal that's just a trap. It's just on top of deep water. It's there to entice this guy to jump into the water. But as you can see, first of all, it's not really learning that well. It's kind of getting stuck in these in this little format.
And it's also it's still as much as it's fear becoming stuck into deep water, as much as it's not collecting it nearly as much as it did in the first place, it's still collecting it, which is a big interesting point, because if it was truly seeing water for what it was, you would assume that it would have probably canceled it out by now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or is that a bad assumption? Yeah.
So it's still falling into water once in a while. So it's
because it hasn't looked at that part of the map. It might be in a new part of the map, so it hasn't fully kind of imagined or come up with that kind of the relative space of that area. So it's still going to make mistakes there because it's still exploring.
I sent Fiona a little a video about what this feels like. Hold on.
It's pretty accurate.
So actually, before we do this, let's let me show you one of the consequences of this thing. It's the second, and this is I think the easiest way to show it. It's if I just do this, if I just make it so that it has to go this way, and I change where all of the I can even remove this little trap over here, and I can add some thing over here. I can add this here, and I can remove this one and maybe this one. If I do this, it's pretty much the same problem, but you'll see that it'll fall. Sorry?
Can you erase the crystal that's on or remove the crystal that's
this
on
one?
the deep space? Yeah.
No, well, it previously had a crystal in deep space over here, so it learned not to grab the one that was over here.
Oh, it
So
did. It learned not to dump into it.
yeah,
Oh,
it learned
cool.
not to jump into that one. So
Okay.
now let's see if it like if it like if this like not much has changed, right? But if we, I mean, it immediately jumps into that hole because it thinks that there's still ground there, and that's kind of been like
Dang.
built into its brain. Like it's gonna learn little by little, but like you can see that it thought that that was like where there was ground, and now it's like
Mhm.
it doesn't know where to go. Like it memorized like the previous state of the level. So and this is where I get to bring my dog meme. There's this little meme up. This dog is blind, and they moved the couch. Oh, that's poor dog. I'm sorry. It's a terrible. Sorry, I don't. Let's get
How
out of
long
Matthew.
had that couch been there for, you think? Like, oh.
Forever. Like, oh gosh.
So
That's
that's
exactly it.
basically
That's
what this guy
exactly it.
does. It's like, yeah, there's gonna be a block there, and then like obviously, and like right away it learns to like walk around or whatever. But because it can't, like, because we didn't give it like sight, and to be honest, like I have a hard time seeing when there's water. Like we got to make it a little bit more like contrasty, but because it can't really see where the water is, it's just it just kind of like jumps in there. It's like, that place is usually safe to walk around based on like the things around me, like where the crystals are, or based like around like certain other cues that it can see. So what we did is we actually made a fix, and I can show you the fixed version. Just let me like set it up. But yeah, like I don't know if what about Fiona, Nick? Do you have any ideas? We can watch this guy go for a bit while I set up the other version.
Ideas about something specific?
Well, yeah, like about. Do you have any like comments or questions about what happened to this little guy?
I think what's interesting is like we are still learning about these machines like as we're training them, and we're, you know, like as Dante said before, it's like we don't program them, we program, or we like kind of like program the environments and how their observations kind of work to some extent. But this is kind of like we find these kind of weird things all the time because like we play so much and we watch the graph and we're like, something is wrong here, because like that's the only insight we have often, because like obviously there's a lot of code and we're dealing with a ton of things, but like we're like, this should be smarter. Why is this happening? Like by watching the graph and then being like, why would it like, why is changing the environment so difficult for these things? And that's like something that we're always trying to solve for, which is called like how we're going to do generalization of them, or not like, yeah, we're gonna make them AGI, but like we want them to generalize, which is like, to Dante's point, it's like when we see that they're not, that as soon as we change the environment, that it's so radically different, and we see them fall into like their old behaviors, we're like, they aren't learning something. There is like something missing here, and I think it's interesting because there could be other things that we've missed as well, which is awesome that we're going to get to spend some time like really digging deep into their observations, because like I don't know if you want to get into this yet, Dante, but how the fix of this problem actually influences the training is, I guess, the next step, which is like,
do I get to get nerdy?
Get nerdy.
Can I be nerdy?
Get nerdy.
Get nerdy.
Okay, so first of all, this is a bit embarrassing because if you're an AI nerd, you kind of know what's going on. What like you're like, oh, they're probably taking like a picture. And okay, so the way you see AI nowadays with something like Midjourney is that there's like this picture, and there's some kind of transformation to that picture that turns it into another picture. And that's such a common use for AI that there's like a bunch of like math tricks to do with pictures. Because pictures are silly in that the thing that's right next to something on a picture, like if you just move something left or right a little bit, it doesn't really affect the picture that much. Like if you just move your like if you just move like your cheek this way or this way, it doesn't change a lot about whether you have a face or not. So AI is really good at recognizing faces because like there's a general kind of face shape that it looks for. And we thought our Animo is like, oh well, there's this kind of general like structure that it looks at to kind of to kind of like see around itself. That's not how the Animo are current. Like these little robots are not set up that way right now. Right now, it's like they have like a million, like, you know, acupuncture is like they have a million pinpricks all over their body, and like they can, like, sometimes a prick like somewhere like is like, oh, there's a block over here, there's a block over there. It doesn't see the picture as like a 2D picture. It kind of senses each pixel independently, which means it can't really do a lot of like thinking around like side to side, up and down kind of like associations. We're going to change it so that it uses a bit more of a picture-based AI. This is not something that like the players are going to see necessarily, but it's going to make it so that they can make decisions that are kind of more general than kind of specifically like, if there's this block here and this block there, I want to make this thing. But we're not done with that yet. We're working on that next. Right now, I just want to show you what the... Sorry, is that what we were talking about, Nick, or is there something I missed?
No, that's what I was talking about. I was gonna say like more in the line of like the difference in learning speed and the difference in like the initial jump kind of stuff that we like, yeah.
I mean,
I assume you're gonna
here, I
go
can get him
there.
to show us some graphs. Like,
No, he's in the audience. He's
in
not
the
allowed,
audience.
and I'm just kidding. Danny should come up.
Yeah, like after I show you I show you the new version, and then if Danny wants to like show us some graphs, we can see like the difference in how the new version works versus the old one. But we'll give it. We didn't tell him he'd be on stage, so maybe not. Oh yeah, I gotta install things. See, this is a weird part. Usually when you set up a game, I mean, like you can imagine this for something like a Skyrim or like or a Metal Gear Solid, but not for like weird indie games asking me to install things.
Like, what's it doing?
So sus.
Well, one thing we want to do in the future is right now we're installing like the AI software that's like standard for everyone. Like if you just have any computer, it'll work. But one thing we want to do is if you have like a beefy video card, we want to let you install like the cool AI thing that uses your RTX on so that your agents can be extra smart. We might do that post-launch just to kind of let you experiment with like really advanced agents. But it would require you to kind of install like a separate, like something like this. Like you would see a screen like this, but it just say like setting up your cool video card so that you can flex on your smarter agents on your friends. We'll see. We'll see if we can get that in.
I think it's interesting, like the idea of like graphic settings, but it's not graphic settings. It's just brain like settings, like quality. It's like you want to you want to max it out. Like yeah.
It's like when they added ray tracing to Minecraft.
Exactly. Yeah. And that we're just adding ray trace, like we're just like allowing the Animo to do that now.
If this actually works out, like if this kind of like AI, like character AI, actually becomes popular in more games, you're likely going to see like computer builds that have like a second video card just for AI. Like maybe not, because back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember, like way back when there was like something called a physics card. Like you could get a video card and then a second physics card because it was like, oh, physics needs its own video, its own card. Oh yeah, the sound card. But like for a while there was like a dedicated like card just for doing physics because of reasons. But then it's like, never mind. Maybe there's a upcoming like AI card, or maybe they'll just put it together with the video card. I don't know. Okay, same game. I got all my save data from like the last game. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this guy, and I'm gonna reset his brain. I mean, hopefully it works. As per usual on these streams, the code for this was written like 20 minutes ago. So I don't.
Yeah, this is fresh. This is very fresh. I did see it work 2 minutes before the stream though. Or did I?
Oh.
I'm not sure actually.
Meow.
So basically what happened was that, like, as a recap, the agent couldn't see deep water. It was moving around. As soon as we changed the environment, it memorized or had like over like like 20 checkpoints. It created like a good mental map of the space without like knowing where it was kind of ending a session, but without knowing why. So in order to like optimize to collect more crystals, it still kind of learned where not to go, but it didn't know necessarily why. So when we changed the environment, it was using its old kind of mental map of this, and it would immediately just dog jumping on a couch that's not there. Okay. All right. So we get the initial. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Donnie.
Yeah, I think you're still gonna get a bit of that because like it's gonna encode
Always.
the space into its observations, at least until we do that thing I mentioned about like the visuals. But I think it'll just do it less. I think we'll see.
Totally.
So far, it's doing it more. I think.
So far, it's getting it's like
That's the other thing.
inverted. It's optimized. There we go. Here we go.
It every time you reset the brain, you get like a new random brain that does all sorts of like random stuff inside it. So so you can't really tell that like whether you made a change that made it better in code. Like when you do it in the game, well, even when you do it in the game, it's a little random because like every time you reset the brain, you get a random like network, and they take like random actions, but some distribution of random actions are better at certain things than others. I think it would be cool if you could like kind of pre-check how good they are at something, but it's so neural networks are so kind of convoluted that it often is not like the case. It's often very. It's not until like maybe like a minute into training that you're like, oh, this is a good one. It's like got a bit of a gotcha element to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like it's gonna take a big jump. So like it's standing still. It seems like so. It's as you can see in the rewards, it's standing still a lot more than at the beginning because it knows that if it stands still, it's not going to fall in the water because it's a very dangerous course. But as soon as it kind of like, I think, tunes into like Dante made this really hard for it because it has a crystal right next to it that's like on like that's completely dangerous. So I think it's having right now a hard time associating like that crystals are even good. It's kind of maintained that, but I do think it'll make a big jump as soon as it gets a couple more. Like you're going to see like a big jump soon. This is my hypothesis. But you did put it in a really difficult situation right at the beginning where you were rewarding it and hurting it a lot in the same move.
Yeah, I often think I don't design. I think I'm the worst at designing these like little setups for these guys. Like I can talk your ear off all day about how they work, but I don't think I'm good at setting up. But there
we go. See, it's only ever collecting one crystal because it's so hard to find the other crystals.
I guess you're right.
I think it's still gonna get it. I think if you, but let's see. Are both of the crystals right next to it? Both like
no, one of them is in
danger?
the shadow. Yeah.
So that's so one of them it can't get the other one, but it can't get so it can't get one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to recreate the previous one I had, like the one I started with the other one. Do apples to apples comparison. I think this was also like here. Yeah.
If it turns right, is it safe?
Yes, but previously it wasn't.
I think.
But like, let's check it out.
Yeah, I think so. This is just shows the importance of matching the reward, the relationship between the reward amounts and the initial setup of an environment. Because like, normally when we train these crystal things, you get them to know that a crystal is good in the first place. But since we kind of started fresh, it was probably struggling to even figure out that crystals were good because they saw crystal, they went for it, and they received negative 100 rewards or like a negative 100 fear. So now as access to more crystals, it's going to make that connection better. Already, it's obviously collecting more crystals than last time, which we were already at like 20 checkpoints before. So we're already doing better. But it is a safer environment, but there is still danger around.
Yeah. I guess I should have done like apples to apples. Like I should have set it up the same way. But like, okay, right off the bat, it already is like collecting more. It's already falling less. And one thing we saw in this one that we didn't see in the last one is that, well, at least even during the previous one, is like falling into water went down to 0. Which is, we didn't see that before. Before it kept falling into water even at the end because it just didn't know where water was. And now it does a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think the key test will be like once we see that falling in water hits 0 here, we should probably stop and just move the animal somewhere else. Because I think, or do you think we should change the environment as well?
Well, we should try to see if it like we should try to like put that hole back there and see if it yeah.
Yeah, that's the true test. Will it jump in that hole?
Like I think it will. Like it's a subtle improvement, but it's like okay. See, like look now we're reaching 0. What's interesting is like he's still walking around a little bit. This is something that I find kind of interesting in like related to like AI as a whole, is that like just because something looks like it's intelligent doesn't mean it necessarily knows what it's doing. Like just because something looks like it, like it knows when there's holes and it doesn't go into the holes, it could actually be doing something completely different that you're not kind of like aware about. Like it could be like memorizing the entire like level, and it's like so you kind of got to be careful when you're dealing with neural networks, is trying to the adage correlation does not imply causation is like 3 times as important with neural networks. It's like just because a neural network is good at doing something doesn't mean it's doing the thing you think it's doing, which is kind of why people complain about like neural networks a lot, about them being like a black box.
Yeah, that their intent would match up to the intent that we would do. It's like the reason that they do something is as much as it might look like something we would do, it's completely different for sure. Or maybe it's the exact same. Who knows? So it's doing pretty good. I wonder why the negative, the fear, why it's still choosing to. Oh no, it's going up. Never mind. I just was.
Yeah. So every time it kind of hits like a snag, every time it kind of like stops learning, the optimizer does something weird. It makes its actions a little bit more random. So it tries to like, it's like, oh well, I can't learn anymore. I'm gonna try random stuff and see if that's a little bit better for me. So it's kind of this like weird, like you see this like often you'll see this like weird like up and down where it's like a little bit more ordered, a little bit more random, a little bit more ordered, a little bit more random. So it tries to like hone in on specific behaviors to kind of like get it closer to the thing it has to do.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting though that it's like it would have a behavior like this where it's standing still. Like, do you think that's because it's so afraid of like that's a very interesting behavior that it's like moving over there and standing still when it knows it's. Do you think that the standing still might be confusing it?
Maybe. I think so.
Since it's just -1 in relation to like -100, or is your brain not updating?
No, it's updated. I hope it's updated. No, it must be updated.
Oh no, it's good. It's just we're watching 2 different instances.
Yeah.
How many is it averaging that it's collecting?
A 6.
Oh, okay, so it's doing really good. Oh yeah, because it's getting all of those for sure.
It got out of the corner. That's better than what I've done in my life.
It still seems like it is falling in. Maybe like try moving it around or something, because I don't know. Like has it gotten as good as the last one?
No, it's gotten better than the last one. The last one only collected like 3 crystals.
Oh yeah, the last one only collected like not even 2. I don't think it was only collecting 1. So he's in a new space. He's not jumping in right away. That's important.
Well, that's good. It means he's not jumping into the water.
Exactly. Yeah.
He did jump into the water a lot, like at least once per episode, but like it's not happening right away. What's interesting is like it's oh hey, look at that.
It just needed that little bit of reset. There you go. So it's still so I think what's happening here is when you restart and you change it and you're seeing that big jump, I think that big jump correlates to like how much it's using its memory of the environment that it's there versus how much it's actually associating with the specific pieces or the specific things and changes because it needs to it's like as soon as you restart and it has that jump, it means that it's still like learning from that mental image that we were just talking about and not fully because of the differences, like the specific differences of the tiles next to it. Is that fair, Dante?
Yeah, I think you're onto something. What's interesting is like in just like a few checkpoints, it's no longer falling into water, even in this new environment. Let's move it. Let's move it around a little bit. Let's change the stakes. It's a little bit more. Is this the edge? I don't like the edge. Boop, boop. Okay, so let's do only this. And let's make it a little bit easier for ourselves to see. Let's just make everything high. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, I guarantee you, I promise you that there will be an update where you can paint blocks. What do you guys think? Like, leave a comment if you'd rather have painting or dragging. Like, do you want to like drag and create like a section of blocks, or do you want to like hold and like paint? We've tried both. They're both, well, actually, we haven't tried
for
the
like
dragging
placing
one,
them down?
but
Yeah, we used to have paint and it was good. We just like it has its pros and cons because I think we just didn't fully finish it, so it still had a couple glitches. Whereas there's like the glitches in it were a bit more annoying. But what do you think, Fiona? Would you rather do like a painting or dragging?
Ooh, I think dragging. I think I'd prefer dragging.
It seems more like
That's what I always like intuitively go to do, you know?
Yeah, you know, Townscaper has a drag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, or is it just click? And like it's kind of a drag up.
Yeah.
I think it uses a drag. Yeah, right. Like where it's like based on where you're highlighting, you like pull out, pull up. We've also been playing with the idea of brush sizes as well, which is great. It's just like with every idea like that, it's like you know, finding the space in the interface for it is always like another challenge. But I think that would help. Also, the saving of these cloud levels will be like really important. Like you create a good cloud level, you save it, you can load it in, you can change it up. I think that's going to help as well. So, because I often feel myself recreating the same one over and over again, say like the maze or the navigation one, and just changing a few things, and then having to build it from scratch. So I think
it'd be nice to have like templates to
help
work off of. Like, I can go back.
Yeah, like
reference
that's a good idea. Yeah, like this is the flat template. This is like better for navigation. This is gonna like this one has pillars and objects in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. Wow,
look at this.
Oh,
I think it might have like something about there being 2 crystals next to each other. It maybe learned as like, oh, when there's 2 crystals, go that way.
instant suicide.
Wow. Yeah, it's like if I get over there.
Well, do you want to see? Maybe if I just like, whoop, I wonder if it'll still jump in here if that one's gone away. It doesn't.
No,
see?
It doesn't.
See?
Yeah.
The things that the things that I think that's bad. I think if I just start and stop. Oh no, good. Okay. So what about this? Like, is it 2 crystals or is it like 3?
Because it won't see that one. It's not in its vision.
Oh, see, when there's 2 crystals, it's like I gotta go. I gotta do it. The weird things that it like kind of like catches up to, and when it's in this configuration, it's just like I can't choose.
Yeah,
can't
he's like, I'm paralyzed. He's like, he's trying to figure out what to eat, and there's like too many options.
Too much
This is me
choice.
at Burger King. Can I have a number 5?
Pizza or nachos? But that's interesting because though technically the one that's closest to it is so close, but is it just so scared of falling in the water that it's like, it's just doesn't want to move? Like if you put a crystal next to it, if you moved one of those crystals next to it,
Right
would
there.
that like encourage it to go get it
See,
Oh,
instantly? And then it's gonna get
I mean,
stuck because it's
it
too
hasn't
scared.
learned anything yet. It's still just like using what it knows.
I know. Yeah, but it's like if a crystal was right next to it, it knew to go to a crystal. If a crystal was too away from it, it still debated whether it was safe to do so. But all of a sudden, it's not falling in
Yeah, like all of just by
'Cause it
putting
has-
that crystal there.
because it now has no crystals in its view, so it's not getting confused about what to do. Oh, it does have that one. Oh, but
it
it
has
haven't.
an affinity towards it. It knows to go that.
Oh, yeah, so it's not fully in there.
It's getting stuck. Start again. Meow. Just comes to this
Do you
corner.
think?
It's like, I'm chilling here.
I wonder if it will get out of this trend.
Well, I mean, if we want to just like go and then get stuck here. Oh wait, no. Oh,
Do you think there's also the chance that like you had a negative 100 death for quite a few checkpoints, Dante? You had like 4 checkpoints of
I'm
pure.
gonna listen to Pro here, and I'm going to let's start this again. Let's just try training with no fear. No
Yeah.
fear.
have no fear.
Okay, well, a little bit of fear. Huh?
Just a little bit.
Give me checkpoints. I want to see. I wanna see.
I feel like it.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Alrighty.
Oh no, it's gonna jump. This
Oh
is
no!
why we give
This is
It's doing the thing. It's doing the thing.
no.
Oh, no.
Is it?
Okay, no fear.
No
No
fear. Just
fear.
love. Just love.
It immediately learned to do the thing.
Yeah, which wasn't reflected necessarily in its checkpoint, but it was like just on the edge of. Oh, there we go.
That's how we got this down, right? Like that's how we got the.
Yeah. That's how we got it down. It wasn't
Yes.
learning. Yeah, it wasn't learning not to. There we go. It wasn't learning to throw itself overboard. It was, or was learning to throw itself overboard. There we go. Here we go.
This isn't like the simplest rewards are often the best rewards.
It's just when dealing with fear, you got to be very careful. Very careful. Like, but yeah, just +1 collecting crystals. I wonder, like in this case, how well it's doing. To the same points, like without associating the reward for that space, is it still learning about what that space is, because like just because like it learns about the environment without necessarily getting reward for it, it can still make associations. It can still learn what deep water and deep water is bad without you telling it to fear it, which is like kind of weird, because as you can see, like it's not falling in the deep water anymore, and that's not just because it's trying to memorize the pattern. It's a little bit of that, but it's just knowing that if it can now see that space as a scary kind of thing, and it knows that it doesn't want to be there because it will get in the way of getting more crystals. So is that fair, Dante?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's picking all the ones up in a straight line. I'm gonna mess with it.
So move it around.
Okay.
I know you guys mentioned wanting to show some graphs. Just noting, it's almost 6.
How does this?
Maybe we
How
should
does
start
time
this
go
earlier
fast?
next time.
Uh,
I mean, like, I know you guys could both just talk about it forever, but
I'm down to keep starting at 5, unless there's just a better time to do it. I'm always struggling to get here at 5.
fair enough. Me too.
more streams means this game comes out later, and you guys probably want to play with it. Same.
No, that's valid.
But Daniil, if you're around, you don't have to put on your camera. You don't have to, I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can come on camera if you want, or you can just share your screen, whatever you feel comfortable with. Daniil is our resident cool guy.
You
There
also
he is.
muted Daniel if
Hey!
you're talking.
My resident cool guy. I mean, he's our RL engineer. He's been working with RL for like a couple of years, and he's developed a lot of opinions and intuitions about it. So it's been really nice working with him. He just joined us, like, what was it, 2 months ago?
Yeah,
So
like 3 months ago already. Yeah, time flies fast. Yeah, I see it's going well. I mean, it's what we discussed before. I expected it to perform better, but like, yeah, we can at least compare this stuff, and the guy is seen. Yes, you wanted to show the graphs? Yes, of course, I will show you. But do you want to show the actual graphs for the ones that you trained, or do you want to show just the previous
I
ones?
don't think. I think I think the ones I trained are dead. Like I think the graphs got deleted. If you got them on your computer,
Yeah, of course. But you're streaming, so
yeah, you go ahead. You can go ahead and stream. I'll stop streaming.
I'm sorry, my cat is being.
Hey,
Yeah.
cat text.
That's a part of the team.
So I am unable to share the screen, unfortunately,
What?
because of the
What?
settings of the room.
You should
Yeah.
be able to.
This is how events work.
Yeah, well,
Oh, I think
so-
Dante has to stop
That's-
sharing
that's
for
my
you
second
to
thing.
start
actually,
sharing.
I have a graph saved. I should have let this guy. I'm gonna
It's
move this
basic.
guy
Yeah,
over
just
here.
you would have to stop sharing for him to start sharing. You can't like kick someone off the share screen essentially.
Here. I have the graph on. I sent it on Slack. Basically, this is how it trained before. That's like this is like a super secret interface. You can access it too. It's what actual like AI researchers use to like look at stuff. It's installed with your game. Like we'll probably make a tutorial on how to get to it. But before it kind of like trained kind of slowly and didn't get as far. And we made this like weird kind of setup where there's like a bunch of crystals. There's a bunch of like crystals at different heights, and there's a bunch of like little like holes that they can fall into. So before it was kind of slow, and now it's like a little bit faster. Like it's like maybe like before it took like 5 minutes to do it. It got just about as fast in about like 2 minutes. So it's a little bit of an improvement, but that's just because now they can just see water, and it's easier for them to learn when they know what they're doing.
And that was a 1-to-1 test using the same environment, which we kind
the
of
exact same environment.
yeah, which we didn't do exactly like that.
We knew that actually seeing things helps avoiding death and stuff.
Yeah, my goal was always to we have an affinity system that we're still working on and getting it to work right. If we do, and we might replace it with a new system, but I like the idea of having an anima with no vision, hence and only affinity. It doesn't work right now with the way affinity works, but if it could just see like disparate grids, like not something consistent around it, could you train it? I don't think you could, because it'll probably walk into water.
If they could see their previous actions, then they could like just learn a single pattern of actions. But like as soon as you place it at least one tile to the left, it's like just going to step right into its death.
I guess if you had, I guess having a perimeter is basically the minimum, or else like you have to have the smallest. You do have to have a perimeter. You can't just have the single seeing itself.
Or at least see the cell right in front of you. This should be enough.
Oh, true. Yeah, just a single observation. I think it might be able to do it.
That's a minimalistic way of seeing the world. Just what's in front of you and your goal.
Yeah. I'm here for it. What we really want to do, and we'll see if we can get to it, is like when you reset a brain, can you mess with these kind of parameters? That's a stretch goal. But I think it'd be a lot of fun if like we start adding in that kind of stuff. But maybe I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't announce stretch goals.
Cut it out later.
Cut it out.
Fix it in post.
Yeah.
So I think I'm once again like weirded out because it's saying here 11, but it only ever does 2. Like,
Ooh, brain reset.
are we doing the brain reset again? Well, no, it's just like, is it updating?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
The bane of our existence. Brains updating.
Maybe next week they'll update without any problems.
Yeah.
Next week we will actually prepare. Test everything, have everything ready, the graphs.
We're preparing every day, okay? Every day we prepare.
Okay.
It's got to prepare for the next
yeah.
hour of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I once again there's a difference between what we're seeing here and what we're seeing on the simulation. So it makes me think that we're just not seeing the guy update.
Didn't you get a little bug where it didn't reset properly? I think that might have been when it happened.
Yeah. There's something like I think
Maybe if it's not the development build, so you wouldn't know if you had any like bugs or something, any exceptions which have been thrown.
I would know.
Yeah,
you can. I mean,
Dante has like an intuition for bugs.
I know.
He just sees red.
Little learning machines.
Oh,
this
no,
is the-
everything's clean. Oh no,
No,
that's
not
that.
here. Meow.
Beautiful. Clean.
This is nothing too bad. This is all training. The brains update after the I don't know. Well, yeah. I need to make an actual test to see that the brains update every time. But it looks like they're updating, but they're not.
They definitely were updating at some point. Who knows?
Yeah.
The good news is that observation system is better than it was before. We are sure in it. Like that was a bug, and now it's not. And
Every
now,
week.
Yeah, every week at the same time.
Every week, one more update. Yeah.
Yeah.
They see one better. They see one thing better. They can use one thing more.
It's the weekly change log.
Yeah,
Life of a
exactly.
developer.
It's great.